East versus West fans, we are here today with Devin to go over the prediction contest that we have right now. So let's see if Devin can guess what the public sentiment is.
Did you know, Dexter, that I am renowned across the arm wrestling community for my ability to get it right? Like every time.
We'll see, right? You know, we have several hundred responses right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see how in tune you are.
All right. Okay.
With the East versus West
I
fans.
think I bat above 50, but barely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go with the easy one first.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Coin toss.
Coin toss.
Okay. Coin toss between Leavonne and Hermes.
You're asking me to guess what the public thinks.
What the public thinks.
Okay. I think the public thinks that Hermes is going to win.
Hermes is going to win.
I think people think Hermes is going to win the coin toss. And I think subconsciously that's their way of kind of bringing balance to the universe.
So you're thinking that the public is supporting Leavonne in his match, but
this is their way of telling the underdog story. He's going to win the coin toss.
at least he wins something.
This is how he gets in the match. Yeah.
Okay. So right now, it's about 62% that Hermes will win the coin toss.
See?
So you got that one right.
Right.
Okay, we'll give it to you.
Yeah.
The match result between Leavonne and Hermes.
It will be 4-0.
4-0.
4-0. All by the way of straps.
Okay. And the public will agree with you that 4-0, it's the top score right now at 41.3%.
Yes.
But if we were to compile, Leavonne versus Hermes, what do you think the overall percentages is? Not just 4-0, but like 4-1, 4-2, 4-3.
Okay, so you're talking about win-loss? Like
Just win-loss. Just straight win-loss. What do you think then?
Oh, I think among people who are betting, I think it's probably like 85+%.
It is about 68.
68. See, Hermes is
68%.
really doing great with the public. Hermes is awesome. I feel like Leavonne is just such a heavy favorite.
Yeah, 60%. Yeah, he is a favorite. I mean, that's why he's the king.
Yeah.
But I think Hermes stands a really good shot, and people are totally underestimating.
You want to bet?
Well,
You don't bet.
I don't bet.
Right.
But feel free to put your responses in.
Yeah.
And then we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, how many rounds ends in a strap?
4.
4.
Yeah,
okay?
all of them will.
That's the bell curve is at 4. But 21% says it will end at 6 rounds.
At 6.
At 6.
Really? So,
Yeah.
Okay, and what, they think that it will be 6 in the straps
At
then?
least 6 in the strap.
Yeah, and so everybody thinks every match will be in the strap.
That's or at least it goes out to 6 rounds.
Yeah, no, neither one of those guys is hooking the other one.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So there's that. Okay, well, next, your match.
Okay. I will win the coin toss.
Okay.
And I think that this one, people probably think it will be, I'd say people are going to be favorable towards me. I think it will be 3-2 or 3-1 is.
Okay, so based on your reasoning for, everybody thinking that Hermes will win the coin toss because Leavonne, that's going to be supporting Leavonne on the 4-0 side.
Mm-hmm. But I think it's different with me because I think that's one of the very funny things with me is, did you know that I have won every coin toss? Did you know that? What is the statistics of that? I lost, the one that I lost, Gennady gave it back to me. I have won every single coin toss in East versus West in King of the Table history. That's like statistically an impossibility.
Whoa.
And I think
it's pretty
wild, right?
Pretty wild. Nope, you did get it at 67.8%, thinking that you win the coin toss.
Yeah, well, statistically, I have been.
And 32.2% is now probably kind of reeling because they can't change their answers now. People are thinking it's going to end in 3-2 to your favor.
I think that that's what a lot of people will say.
The majority actually says 3-1.
3-1.
3-1 at 37%. So, but overall, you are favored to
which is
win.
Wild. I
Public perception.
It's great. Yeah, this guy is big, Yeah.
Yeah.
I can just come into the rankings at number 4. No problem.
There's actually
No problem.
still a decent amount who thinks it'll be close where he beats you 2-3.
Yeah. Okay. You know what?
But
That's interesting.
0-3 is it's on the lower end side.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So there's a big population who thinks that you lose at 2-3.
So most people think it's going to be a war.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Exactly. How many rounds do you think you'll end in this draft?
All
All 5?
All in the strap.
Okay. So it's a lot of the results that ends in this trap, it's a bell-shaped curve.
Yeah.
Yours is, you can see right here. It's
all the
skewed
strap.
all the way to the
all
end.
the strap.
Highest number at 5 at
Yeah.
32%, and 4 at 30%, and 3 at 28%. So it scales up really. So everybody knows
It's going strap. Yeah.
It'll be a really, really interesting
I would be surprised if it doesn't go strap.
Yeah. All right, next one. Michael versus Gilgi.
I think that people think that Michael will win the coin toss just because they feel sympathetic towards Michael.
Is it because you think most of the people who fill up this prediction is more North American? Is that what you think?
Probably North American. But I think people just feel a certain degree of sympathy, and subconsciously they're going to give the coin toss to. It's like a way to help somebody out.
Okay. Well, it's an interesting reasoning, but 61%.
They think Michael's going to win. Yeah.
Michael's going to win.
It should be 50-50, right?
Okay. Well, then what about the match results? What do you think about
Michael's a heavy favorite.
Heavy favorite.
Heavy favorite. I think that most people think it will be 3-0 or maybe 3-1, but I'm leaning towards 3-0.
3-0.
I think so.
Okay. The majority would agree with you as well.
Yeah.
So you got that one right.
I'm batting pretty well. Yeah.
Have you got any wrong yet?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
But that just means that everybody might also be wrong.
And to be clear, you have not seen any
I
of the
have not
results yet.
seen any of the results.
Only I have seen it. So
I have been in line with a lot of like I've been discussing this card at length with a lot of people. So
Okay. Pretty in tune. All right. How many rounds end in this draft?
all.
5 or 3?
Well, 3. So 3 because it's probably 3 is the heavy favorite for.
Right.
So I'll say
So 3.
Yeah.
Okay. But majority would agree with you as well.
Yeah.
Next, Wagner and Manuel.
Okay, now this is going to be a little bit tough for me.
Okay.
This one I'm not so certain of, but I'm going to say that Wagner wins the coin toss
Why?
because he's like the spirit animal of arm wrestling, and everybody loves Wagner. Manuel's cool too. He's cool. I can't wait. Like his rock video. I keep saying it, but watch his rock videos. They're awesome. Him on the farm, driving his car, picking up girls, taking them back, doing like soft core stuff in the barnyard with them. It's hilarious. It's so funny. Really funny stuff. Really. But still, I got to go with Wagner.
That's at 60%. So Wagner. Okay. So
Yeah.
for
This is the best part of the whole thing. The win-loss, I mean, the coin toss is really where it's at. That's the real bettor's game. Yeah.
coin toss.
Yeah.
Statistically, it's 50-50.
It's easier to pick who people think is gonna win than
Right.
actually winning.
Yeah.
Like it's easier to pick who people think is gonna win. It's like being one step away from it.
This one is a little bit more psychological on guessing who's gonna
Yeah.
All right. What is the match results?
I think people probably have Wagner as a favorite. And I don't think that it's a strong favorite. I think that this will be a 3-0 or 3-1 score for Wagner. And I also think that this will be one that is not necessarily all in the strap. I think that this one might be missing a couple straps, maybe one in the strap. I think this will be outside of the strap.
So first off, the highest percentage is 3-1.
3-1.
Okay. Which is where you're leading. It's actually more of a war than a flat
Yeah.
3-0. So that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
The second one that's also really interesting. Usually most bell-shaped curve are very even. Like you have a peak,
Yeah.
like maybe at 3 or so, and then it between 2 and 4 is identical.
Uh-huh.
But what you're saying is there'll be less of a strap, and the majority would agree with you. It's still 3 as the highest because it's still a bell-shaped curve.
Right.
But 2 rounds ending in the strap is higher, way higher than 4.
It is. So people do think there's a high chance of hooking of both these guys going in.
Yeah.
Interesting. So we'll see about this one. So I think a lot of people are in line with me thinking both these guys, I think, have a tendency to go forward. Wagner certainly, and Manuel as well. I think there's a lot of hook in his game, so they both might just go right in.
Sure seems like it on the public perception.
Yeah.
Now, what happens on Saturday is yet to be determined. Joseph and Ivan.
Okay. Joseph and Ivan. Now, I'm going to say that this one, for the coin toss.
Yeah, coin toss.
This is the first one where it might be really, really close because you have two people who even still are, like Joseph obviously is the American. So there might be a slight, but the thing is both these guys are so green that statistically this one might even up very close. I'm going to say this one's very close to 50-50 on the coin toss. So, I mean, I'll give 51% to our guy, to the American. Yeah.
So Joseph has 51.9%.
He did get 51.
He got 51.9%. Close.
Right? Am I psychologically in touch with the community
or something?
Am I in touch with the community?
Nobody has seen this other than me, and this is the
Hey, I just watched this show on remote viewing.
Okay.
Very interesting.
What is that all about?
And did you know that there's a gene for telepathy? Did you know that autistic kids who smear crap on the wall, did you know that they can mostly listen to your thoughts?
Yeah, you were telling me a little bit.
I can't. I don't do that. But
so what did you?
Jody does a little bit. I think a little bit rubs off on me. Yeah, you can't lie to Jody. Did you know that? She knows everything.
Okay.
Everything.
Well, she might be a poker player or something. Okay, next. Match results for Joseph and Ivan.
So again, this is one of the more unknown ones. So I think guys will probably be all over the place, and I think that people think it's probably a close match. So I think they're going to go with a 3-2 result, and they're going to pick the American.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. That's almost right. Almost. 3-2 and 3-1's really close.
Yeah.
Which people think it's a war,
but leaning towards Joseph.
Yeah. It is. It is definitely leaning towards Joseph.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big war.
Yeah. This is great.
Okay, but right now most of the public sentiment is either a 3-1 or a 3-2 match. How many rounds ends in a strap?
I think that this one's going to go strapless. That's what I think for a lot of them. So I'm going to say that maybe 2 or 3 are in the strap, and many of them are sorted out without the strap. That's what I think.
That is what the public's thinking. 2 and 3 are the highest. 4 and 5 is really, really low.
Yeah.
So with a few saying 0.
I am plugged in. I'm telling you, I am plugged in to this sport.
I wonder how many can actually do that. Okay, next one. Matt versus Irakli.
Okay. So tricky.
Coin toss.
Tricky, yeah. Because so Matt's everybody's favorite, right? Everybody loves Matt Mask. Irakli's a cool guy too.
Right.
I feel like a lot of people feel like Irakli got a little bit of the short end. There's an interesting thing with public sentiment with Irakli right now because of what's going on with him and Todd Hutchings. So it may sway things a little bit towards Irakli, but Matt's still got to be the favorite. I got to say Matt's winning the coin toss maybe but not astronomically, like maybe like a 55% or something.
Well, you talk yourself out of the correct answer.
Oh, no.
It's actually Irakli.
It was Irakli.
Irakli, but at 51.9%.
Okay.
So not a huge margin. That's more so it's the first one that you officially got it wrong.
Yeah.
Talk yourself out of
well,
the answer.
I mean, I think that there's a certain degree of karma in what people think, and I think that a lot of people think that Irakli's owed a certain amount of karma based off of what happened in Georgia. There was a lot of complaining. Maybe a little bit substantiated, maybe not. I'm sure they're going to sort it out. Todd Hutchings is the champion of the 95 kilo class, and I think the people probably with that they probably have Irakli to win as well. I think they probably do if they're picking winners. I mean, I obviously want Matt to win, but I think that they think it's going to be closer, maybe a 3-1 or a 3-2 for Irakli.
3-1 and 3-2. Okay, so the general public sentiment is Irakli is gonna win.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's a very clear divide. So usually, most scenarios, or if example like Leavonne's the clear favorite, right? He'll have 4-0 being the biggest number, and
Right.
4-1 is the second biggest
Right.
number. It's shifting that way.
Everybody agrees, and then it's
But in this case, it's different.
two camps.
It's very polarizing. 3-0 and 0-3.
Oh, wow.
It's very polarizing.
Oh, okay.
So you're either a hardcore Matt fan or you're a hardcore.
And what's the
Iraqi
split?
fan. The split is Irakli having an edge over Matt.
What percentage?
Let's see. I need to tabulate this really quickly in my head at about 65-35.
Okay, interesting. You know what? I think that there's so much knowledge in statistics. I think if you take all the brains of everybody, we're probably more accurate than the experts even. I wouldn't be surprised if the
Potentially.
public is very accurate.
Potentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a very polarizing number. 3-0
Yes.
and 0-3.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
How many rounds ends in a strap?
You know, it's my first instinct is to say all because they're both kind of top rollers, but Matt can hook a bit with his left, but it'll go strap every time. 3.
3? Yeah. That's 3 is the heavy favorite.
Yeah.
With 4 and 5 following.
Yeah.
The next 2.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Next one, Paul and Arson.
I think that people think Paul is going to win the coin toss. He's just so loved. I think that that's just straightforward. I think people just love him so much.
What do you think the percentage is then?
Well, look, I mean, the coin toss should be 50-50. So any strong deviation suggests something. And I think it will be more than a 5 to 7%. So a clear deviation towards Paul Lynn.
67.8.
Oh, so it's really strong.
Really fair.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah,
fair.
and that's the thing. I think it's a reflection. I think that there's a little bit. It's very interesting. What an interesting question. Because it really shows something. Something's going on when people are unconsciously. Because it should just be 50-50. You shouldn't even have to think about
Right.
it.
Statistically, it's 50-50.
Yeah.
But there's a public sentiment, emotional connection.
Yeah. So Paul Lynn is heavily favored on the coin toss. This is maybe the most interesting stat of all of them. Really. The coin toss is fascinating. Okay. And I think that that's going to actually carry through into the matches. I think that he's going to be favored to win. I think that this guy is really good, and I think this is a very difficult match, really. I think I am a little bit biased myself because I fall into that 67% that's really supportive of Paul Lynn.
Right.
But I think that most people think it's going to be a 3-0, maybe a 3-1, but likely more a 3-0. And I think that probably we're looking at 3 strap matches, probably.
So of everybody that I've seen thus far, Paul Lynn has the highest 3-0 or 4-0 clean sweep
Yeah,
at 41.8%.
strong.
So very, very strong.
Strong.
Heavily favored.
Heavy favorite.
Very, very heavily favored.
Interesting. And I actually think this is going to be a really close match. But I think that Paul's public support is just so strong. Like, I think that just his character is so immaculate that everybody just loves him.
But here's the interesting thing, right? Because the way that I structure the point system on who gets a free trip, including their airfare, their the hotels, the VIP passes.
Yeah.
The point system I have, like coin toss, you get 1 point.
Yeah.
Right. But to determine the real winner comes to predicting the actual score.
Yeah.
So is it a 3-0 or
Right.
3-1? So, and the interest, and it's 5 points. So it's it's worth a lot of points.
Right.
If somebody predicts Arson and Arson wins, it's a major upset.
Major upset.
Major upset to the community.
Right.
So
because nobody's getting those points. Everybody's picking Paul.
Yeah, everybody's picking Paul. So
Right.
if Paul ends up,
bit of a long shot, and you can still get in on this game, right?
Oh yeah.
The deadline
is at the beginning of the whole event.
Yeah.
That's when I'll close it.
And there's a link below.
As we'll include that link below and make
Perfect.
sure everybody.
Yeah, get in there.
Now, like if you don't buy the pay-per-view or come to our event in person, you can still participate. You're only capped on what prizes you can win. Obviously, the top prizes are for people who support us through pay-per-views or our in-person.
Are you going to post these analytics for people?
Well, technically,
afterwards?
I'm somewhat already
Yeah, I mean,
doing
this is
this. It's a preliminary thing.
because-
Now, obviously, a lot of the people have not joined yet because
Right.
they're still gathering data,
Yeah.
seeing who shows up, who looks good on camera.
Yeah.
Right?
Smart.
But we will do a full-blown analytics and we'll release the result in about a couple of days after the event.
So you can do this one time per Gmail address.
Technically speaking, that's also one reason why I kept the prizes
Yeah.
for people who didn't buy a pay-per-view. It's because if you buy the pay-per-view,
Yeah.
your email has to match
Oh,
the email you used to buy the pay-per-view
Oh,
or in-person
really?
tickets,
Oh.
so I can match them up.
okay. So if you, but how are you gonna check that?
Oh, I can check because they are. You need an email in order to fill up this response
Okay, so this is only available for people who buy the pay-per-view
or in person.
or in person. Okay.
No, and those people will win they can win all the big prizes.
Ah.
So we have a lot of big prizes, especially signed autographed merchandise, one-of-one stuff, right? And
So your email's got to match what you buy. Okay.
right. But for everybody else who did not or can or are unable to purchase a pay-per-view,
You can
it's fine.
submit
You can
100
submit.
of them.
You can submit 100 of them, and it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
But they are limited on what kind of prizes they can win.
Interesting.
So,
Okay.
okay, so Paul Lynn and Arson's match, you are also correct. They will end. It's a very even bell-shaped curve at three
Yeah.
matches.
Yeah.
Okay, Morozov and Alex, coin toss.
I think people will pick Morozov to win the coin toss
Why?
because he fought so well with Vitali, and people view him as a little bit of a hero, and he got the injury, so a bit heroic. Yeah.
Okay. 66.5%. Morozov.
Right?
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
It's funny. You see, karma's interesting, Well, and we'll see, we'll see. Is karma a real thing? Like,
Yeah, maybe.
maybe.
So I think in the public perception, I think there's always that component of emotional connection.
Yeah.
Oh, they feel for this guy, right?
Yeah, look, Morozov had a tremendous fight with Vitali. Really, I mean, nobody thought he was going to do anything with him.
That's right.
He looked like he was going to win.
Yeah, for a moment, Vitali looked like he struggled a little bit.
Got injured, fought through injury. That's so everybody loves him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Match results.
I think people have Morozov as a favorite. I think they do, but I personally think it's going to be really tough. But like, if you look at their left-hand match, that was a brilliant match. Alex and Morozov. They had a very, very close match, left-handed, and I think that for both of them, their left hand is probably both their slightly favored arm. So, but I think Morozov is going to be the slight favorite. I think it's probably going to be a war. I don't think it's 3-0. I think it's much more likely to be a 3-1 or 3-2. Maybe even a 3-2, which is wild. And then you have to consider that it's going to be Alex's second match of the day. So maybe more 3-1. So 3-1 for Morozov with three of them being in the strap.
Okay, so we have 36.8% with three rounds ending in the strap. But he, just like Paul Lynn, has a major 3-0.
Okay, so
support.
3-0.
It's his big
3-0, okay.
Yeah.
All right, he might. I think it's probably a pretty close match. Quite honestly, I bet you it looks a lot like their left-hand match.
Coin toss for Ryan and Alan.
I think this is another one. I think that when the guys aren't super well known, I think that it goes more towards that 50-50 line. So I don't think there'll be a strong deviation from the 50 mark, but I will lean a little bit towards Alan Ford, maybe. Maybe a little bit.
Okay. It's 56% Ryan.
Okay.
Ryan.
All right. Well, Ryan, this is his second appearance in EVW,
Okay.
and this is Alan's first. So maybe people don't know Alan.
Yeah, that could be it. It could be a name recognition.
Could be. I mean, 56 isn't a massive deviation, but still, I think that how many people voted?
We have a couple hundred right now.
A couple hundred. Okay, so it should be getting close to that 50 line. Should be, statistically.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I wonder why that is.
Yeah, it could be
Yeah.
name recognition.
You know, that it's it. I mean, Alan's been around a long time.
Yeah. Match results.
Yeah, again, this is a tough one. I think it's 3-0 for Alan. That's what I think. I think it's 3-0 for Alan Ford. I know that I've listened to a lot of the podcasts and I've heard a lot of people support Ryan. I've heard that. So I think that a lot of people are probably swayed by that. So maybe it goes the other way, just based off. I personally think it's going to be 3-0 Alan Ford, but I will say that the public thinks it'll be 3-2 for Ryan.
3-2 for Ryan. Okay, so the public says, and this of all the matches that we've checked thus far, this match is by far the closest of any of the matches.
Yeah.
So 3-2 Ryan winning, 20.6%, and 2-3 with Alan winning at 22.5%.
Okay, so Alan's a slight favorite.
Slight favorite.
But both 3-2.
But 2-3, 3-2, so
like
close.
the opposite of Irakli and Matt.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So close match.
Very, very close match. Very, very close match.
But divided.
Very. Yeah. I mean, almost
pretty even.
Yeah, pretty even.
Yeah.
How many rounds ends in the strap?
I think it'll be, so if everybody's saying it's a 3-2, so I'm going to say that people will say 4 as the median.
The result is most of them are thinking it's 3, with heavier leaning on 2.
So less. Less. Okay.
Less.
So Ryan must be some kind of a non-strap arm wrestler. Interesting. Hey, I don't follow Ryan close enough to really know. I know Alan doesn't rely on a strap, but he's a top roller, so I go.
Okay, world title match for the women.
Oh,
Fia and Eileen.
Oh, Fia. I think people think Fia's gonna win. They're just. I think that Eileen is probably. Just Fia's been a champion for so long. She's so established. I think people are supporting Fia, and I think that they're going to lean towards her for the coin toss. Yeah.
Okay. Now, of all that we check, which is kind of a weird thing again. Remember, coin toss, completely 50-50, no advantage whatsoever, 71.3% for Fia.
Isn't that wild? I love this statistic. It's so interesting.
And the thing is, people could just literally lose the whole contest because
coin toss.
It's based on coin toss.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's so funny. And match results, this is also by far the highest percentage. I think partly is nobody really knows Eileen as well.
Yeah.
Compared to Fia.
Yes.
Right? I think that's one. Many people are underestimating, her accomplishment at what wasn't she a juniors champion, competing with 18-year-old at 13 years old, beating everybody.
Really distinguished Swedish athlete. Swedish athletes, especially the women, are really, legendary. Like the Swedish women arm wrestling team just produces so many champions, and Eileen is like an amazing standout in that capacity because she was so young when she became recognized, and she's just been winning and winning and winning. And she kind of cracked into it when she got a win over Fia last year in a tournament. So I am really not sure, but from everyone that I've spoken to, everybody tells me that Fia is just going to kill her. So I'm going to just copy on this. I really personally, I've known Fia a long time. I'm a big fan of Fia. I don't know Elin other than what I watch on the web, but, a fierce young champion. But I'm going to say that the public thinks that Fia is going to smoke her 3-0.
4.
Oh, right. 4. Yeah, so it'll be 4-0. Right?
4-0 is by far the big favorite.
Yeah.
And the second predicted result is 4-2.
4-2.
Skipping 4-1.
Skipping 4-1. Okay, so it's either going to be a blowout but still a victory.
Yes, still a victory. Sophia is still the favorite.
Okay.
But how she gets there, it's a little bit divided.
That's
either
interesting.
A war or a blowout.
Very interesting.
So,
very interesting.
How many rounds ends in this draft?
4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4, of course, definitely the highest.
Yeah.
Let's see. We have Wallace and Riker.
Ooh, a hot match. And
Coin toss.
Yeah, coin toss. I think people will favor the young champion. I think that this guy has got a lot of support. Riker Boorman. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Even though the guy's an American, I think people are going to support Riker.
Riker wins. That's 57.9%.
Okay. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah, why do you think he trumps over?
Because I feel like look at Wallace Dilly is. Both these guys are awesome, and the truth is, it's probably going to be a very, very tough match. The little that we've seen from Wallace Dilly is he had a strong victory over Marcio Barbosa.
Oh.
This is his premier clip that the international community has seen on this guy, and the word of mouth in the community that he is a guy coming into sport super strong from the powerlifting community, strong, confident, making waves, ambitions to be a champion. Riker Boorman really, and the thing is with Riker is there's an age difference. Okay, so Wallace is established; he's an older athlete. I mean, older. Riker, from what I understand, just turned 22 or 23. So he's very young, and just so much potential. I think that when people think of Riker Boorman, they legitimately believe the guy has world title potential. Whether that's in a 115 or whether it's in the open. I mean, he's so young. Just seems to be like, all the Australian guys give him massive praise. Yep. All the footage just show that he's just extremely powerful. He rolled into the USA and he just ran through Don Underwood like nothing, that's quite impressive. So I think that people are just very optimistic and hopeful about this guy's future. So they probably.
So here's the match results.
Oh, that's like a perfect pie chart.
It is almost a perfect pie chart.
So nobody knows.
The only one it's a little high user it's 3-2 for Wallace Dilly.
Oh, really?
Right.
Okay, but pretty even split all over the place.
Pretty even split.
So So which half is for?
So this 3.
So it's really right on the line.
It's 55%.
So it's 50. So it's a 50-50 match, just divided evenly across all the categories, with the biggest pie piece going to Wallace Dilly.
Yeah, but it's a big war.
I wouldn't have picked that myself. I wouldn't have picked that. I would have had Riker.
3-0.
Probably 3-1. I would have said 3-1 or 3-2. I would have said 3-1. Okay. But I got a feeling that this is a huge match. I really think, because both these guys have big ambitions, big potential, and if one of them comes out of it dominantly, I think it's really going to shake things up.
Right.
I think if either one of these guys come out dominant, I think that a lot of people are going to be like, right away, let's give this guy a nice step forward.
Yeah, so this match, because it's so evenly split from all the 6 possible outcomes,
Yeah.
this match could also determine who's the overall champion. Who's
Right, because
coming.
everything else has been pretty much in line.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much,
most
heavily
people.
skewed. And
Yeah,
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 this is going to be
interesting.
interesting. How many rounds ends in the strap?
Yeah, again, I bet you this is all over the place. But I mean, I'll say 3, but I bet you this is a bit of a splatter paint too.
Somewhat.
Yeah,
Somewhat.
3.
3 is still the highest.
Yeah.
If 2, and it's
Yeah,
bell-shaped curve.
yeah,
Okay. I think that's all we have.
that's great. That's so interesting. These statistics,
Yeah.
you know. So I think I was pretty much not too bad, eh?
Yeah, maybe 2 on the coin toss.
Yeah.
You got it wrong, but
Yeah.
that's about it.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you were kind of pretty in line. But we'll see what happens on Saturday.
So from this, I would the biggest piece of information that I would take away is that Fia and Paul Lynn have the biggest fan support in their matches.
Polarizing
respectively.
fan support.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think, and that's reflected in this coin toss number.
Well, but it's not just fan support. Sometimes it's like you mentioned, the karma. Right? The karma. And to say does Hermes have more fans than Leavonne, I don't know if that's completely true either. Right? So I think there's more to play than just fan support.
It's true.
Right?
It's something to do with karma or a balancing effect, maybe, as well.
But it's not clear that that thing is repeated. That same thought is repeated through all the other matches.
Yeah, but there's always something. It's like, look, if you're in touch with the public narrative that's kind of out there on Facebook and Instagram and wherever you're reading YouTube, wherever you're kind of following arm wrestling, I think that people kind of get a sense of athletes who have had right or wrong done to them.
Okay.
And I feel like there's a certain sense of karma, some balancing effect that people kind of, a way of like balancing that. I feel like this is like a karma thing, I think. And this is like a way of expressing that. People are like, well, I think this guy needs a little bit back, so we'll give to him. And I think this is one of the ways that the universe expresses karma.
Winning coin toss.
Like if you had to buy Paul Lynn or Arson a coffee, like, I mean, I feel like most people are going to buy Paul a coffee. That's karma. Karma.
Well, it's what this is I'm trying to create something where now it's not just supporting a guy and he wins, but it's also watching every single round, because every single round now matters.
It does.
So it's gonna be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I think there are some matches that are super divided, and I think we got a pretty good card here.
I'd be curious to see what the final results are. I'd love if you could like put that information up.
Oh yeah,
in a spreadsheet.
We'll put it all. We'll make another video, make it all public, let people dissect that.
Yeah.
And so people know that.
Oh, it's really interesting.
Where they actually end up.
You want to know an interesting one also that could be really cool? Is how long will the match take? And you could go and you could put it into like brackets. You could bracket it. You could have like 3 or 4 brackets.
Sure.
You could have, because we know how long typical matches are, and you could say from the initial time that they come up to the table and shake hands. And you could break down like the average of all matches is like the mean is here, a shorter match is here, a longer match is here, and then go minus and plus.
Oh, that's a good one. Actually, now think about it, that's a pretty good one.
It could be interesting.
Yeah, and it makes people study the old matches too.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
because,
I like it.
I mean, I typically have longer matches, but I just had a short one.
You got a really short one, and that surprised us.
Right? But that was left. Left and right are very different.
That's true.
I tend to be...
It could be also your opponent.
It could be. Could be. Statistics are wonderful. I mean, you could do fouls. You could break down fouls as well.
I've actually considered fouls being one of them. Yeah.
You could do injury. You could do do not finish. do not finish. I mean, look, you could
Be
have
like 10 points.
yeah, you could pick, and you could say you get to pick
Because that.
one do not finish. Maybe on the card, you could have one. So out of all your picks,
Bonus.
one of them is a do not finish.
Okay.
And that's like, and it's just a complete bonus. It's and you don't get deducted points if you get it wrong.
Right.
It's just if you hit it and it's a winner, maybe. Because look, as much as it's just a reality. Some matches there's injuries. It's
Sure.
yeah, it's not a.
But it's been very unlikely.
It is unlikely.
Very unlikely in the past.
But when you go back statistically, I mean, I've been on cards where there's been multiple do not finishes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's cool, buddy.
I do like the time one. I'll incorporate that. Well, this is the first one, obviously.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
But I think as I'm actually building a full-blown site to accommodate this versus Google Forms right now. But I think at some point we'll grow this interim while we're working on other avenues to make, attendees or viewers at home be more interested in every single round.
Did you watch Todd Hutchings' latest video?
No, not yet.
You should watch that. He breaks down Irakli Zirakashvili statistically.
Oh.
Yeah, so he uses statistics. He looks at all his matches. He breaks them down from an analytics point of view. It's really good, very brilliant. We should do that for all the athletes, like statistically, fouls, time, slips, style. Yeah.
Yeah, because over time, any mature sports, it eventually evolves to a point where it becomes a numbers game.
Yes.
It becomes a numbers game.
Yeah.
And it's hard to change habits.
Hard to change habits.
Right. So,
Yeah.
that'll be a really interesting time when we actually get to that point. But that's just potentially the first step in analyzing our athletes' play-by-play, tactics. But
Very good.
yeah.
Hey, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you for your opinion and your thoughts. You've been pretty accurate with in tune with the public. We'll see what happens on Saturday.
Yeah, imagine that all the coin tosses are right. Could you imagine? I'll tell you, if all the coin tosses are right, I'm going to rethink the way I look at the world. I'll change everything. I'll just be...
Well, statistically, you won every coin toss as well. So
right.
there's that too. Right?
It screws me up.
Okay, so here's another one, right? Out of all the coin toss guesses, how many of the matches of the coin toss that people predicted
come true?
Come true.
Right, so it should be 50%, right? It should be.
Should be
50%.
Should be. Well, not anymore, because anytime there is a big deviation, like say that Fia's she got 70% plus on her winning the coin toss, that makes it incorrect now. It's no longer a 50% accurate.
Right, they're picking Fia.
They're picking Fia, but because it's over 70%, it's no longer, from your perspective, it's not a 50% chance that it's correct now.
Well, people are picking it not to be a 50% chance.
Right. But from your perspective now, that says this is what's going to happen, it's not. So that is now adding error, because there's a 20% error now.
20% error.
Right. Well, technically 40%, because 20, right. So that it's now an error type guess.
Right.
Okay. So now with all that said, out of all the matches, how many of them will come true?
Well, isn't that interesting? I think that it should be. Anytime it's off of 50%, it's kind of starts to get weird, right?
Yeah. Well, if it's like for Fia, it's more than 50%. It's actually higher likelihood that it's correct now. You see what I'm saying?
No, I'm not really following your math here. So
okay, so
I'm either seeing it as it's the audience has picked one way or the other, but you're breaking it down still.
Now I'm breaking it down because now we're talking about pure luck almost.
Sure.
Right? Now I'm gonna go then just go to the extreme. If somebody or like the whole community votes that say Fia has a 99% chance of winning a coin toss, right? In our eyes, it's now a 99%. It's a much higher chance than 50% of us being correct if we pick Fia. That's what I'm saying. So when you tabulate all of that combined,
yeah.
it's not 50%.
So we probably
it's higher.
so right now the tabulation is probably we've deviated off center probably what, like it's 60% or something.
I think it's pretty close to high 50s.
Yeah.
About maybe high 50s.
Yeah.
About 60s. I haven't looked.
So we should statistically be 10% off, right?
Right. Statistically.
Right.
Right.
But
So
if it's not, then maybe karma's real.
right.
Right. I think karma's real.
You think ours real?
Yeah. I'm going to say that the community is in line with the coin toss.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We will see.
That's
who fate smiles upon.
It smells.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everybody. We'll stay tuned on Saturday. Visit us and on evwsports.com. Subscribe and like our YouTube channel as well.
I need that coin toss, by the way. Whoever you are up there, I need that coin toss. Please help me.